Here is your terminal. Right now, as you guys see, I'm on my desktop. And the one program for SSL we're going to use is called Open SSL. So today we're going to learn about how to make an SSL or a CSR and a key for a client. Does anybody know what a CSR and a key is?
Well, the CSR is a certificate request. It encodes all the data needed for the certificates for the encryption. And as for key, I have no idea.
Okay. Anybody have an idea what a key is?
So it's like public and private signing concept. Like you have a public key available, while with private you sign it. From public you just decode it, unsign it, that sort of thing.
Good. A key is actually what communicates when we get an SSL certificate created. The key and the SSL, the best way to look at it as a key and an SSL, the key is the key to the door. The SSL is actually just the door. So you take the key and you insert it into the door and you unlock it. It's basic knowledge. I mean, the basic fundamentals of it. We're not going to go into too much logistics because today is just about actually making one. You can always, on every server, it's going to go to LAMP 1. So everything right now for SSLs come to LAMP 1. Because if you guys do an IF config, you will see that every single IP address that we have that's allocated is going to be sitting on LAMP 1, unless that's probably going to change pretty soon. But right now everything's going to LAMP 1. Now, before we'll go into that next. Actually,
so these are our virtual interfaces for IP.
This is all the IP interfaces that you can use for SSL. Some of them are already in use, which I will share a sheet with you guys. I got to update it. And I'll share it with you. But all the IP addresses that you can assign for Apache SSL are on LAMP 1. And in most cases, we'll get into that next step here about getting all the data moved over to LAMP 1 and blah, blah, blah. So first, let's get the SSL cert. So if you do not have Linux box, which I prefer it being on LAMP 1, so actually scratch all that. Anytime you make an SSL, log into LAMP 1 as your user. So as me, my jailed account, which I have SSL. So in my jailed account, what we're going to do is we're going to move ourselves to mount data and see where it says and go into the search directory. Here's all the certs and keys that we've been making. Everything is going to go here. What you're going to do now is when a customer requests, and you're going to send them that the support guys already know about sending the CSR request. So they fill it out. And a lot of times when they fill it out, you guys move it over to the admin department. So in this case, we're just going to make a dummy one anyways. So the first thing you're going to do is run your Open SSL command. You're going to require it a new, and you're going to make a new key at the same time. And anybody know what the RSA bit has to be for SSL? Yep, 2448 bit. So basically a 2 meg bit. We're going to pipe it to the nodes, and we're going to pipe it out. And then always, as you guys see here and a little above here, all the keys and chains, I prefer you guys to start using the www because we always make SSL keys for that name of the domain. So everything will always be www. So for uniformed across the board, always put www. Now this part of it, when you're saying after the out command, you're telling it to pipe it to www Linux rocks as admin.com. Then CSR. Anybody that doesn't know, I'm Linux as my handle. L-Y-N-I-X. I got in trouble by Lords of the Rings for having L-I-N-U-X. But anyways, back to this. So the first one is the CSR. After we tell it the CSR, the nice little thing afterwards is what I was showing, what I showed Derek the other day. And so it's all one command. We then also pipe it out to, first one's key, and then out again, I messed up. Key out, and then out for the CSR. Linux rocks as admin.com. So we have the www, the domain name, and if it's a .com, .net, .co, .uk, blah, 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 blah. Then that's the CSR. Generates the key. Oops, I screwed up. Oh, looks like I'll have to get that fixed. So, exit out. Glad I tried checking it with that. Okay, so I redid it. I'll have to fix the shell account so that you guys have access to it better. So now it's saying the country code. Now, like I was saying, in the ticket, you'll send out that predefined reply asking people to fill out the information for the CSR. So in this case, I live in the U.S. The state, since I'm in Michigan, I'll put it in Michigan. The location, let's say Traverse City. The organization name, Linux LLC. You don't have to put that part in. The common name is going to be the www.linuxrocksasadmin.com. All right, email address. Make sure you put the customer's email address. All right. This is extra stuff. Don't do it. And there you go. So now, after you do that, what you're going to do is open up the ticket. I'm opening up the ticket, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm going to copy and paste everything. So what you're going to do is cat it. Use the cat command to pipe it to to your screen. So I'm going to cat www.linuxrocks.csr. And then I'm going to copy this. You can just, most cases in most SSH browsers, you can just copy it, and then paste it into the notes. Then do the same thing for the key. Copy and paste the key into the notes. So, okay. Any questions about that really quickly before we move on, about making a CSR and a key?
Maybe something out of topic, but I never understood means why we need to pass it to someone like GoDaddy or this other players that trusted sign or these sort of players to get the key. Means what special they hold for generating keys?
They went through a process, and basically they are well known among the community to be able to sign an SSL.
So browser contains their detail?
This right here, this RSA key contains the key to unlock the SSL. The CSR here, that contains what we just inputted right up here. What we just inputted plus a key. So then we give it to them. They sign the CSR, and it turns into an SSL. So then they say, yes, I verify as a legal SSL representative that www.linuxrocksasadmin.com belongs to Christopher at cloudaccess.net. I did notice that he is from Michigan and he is in Traverse City, so I can verify that he is who he is. In other words, what you're saying is if I don't know if India has driver's license. It's like getting a driver's license.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you can't get it from anybody. You have to get it from your government to say, yes, this is who he is. Extreme Fitness. We're going to use him as a case study today. You guys will see what I've done. So as you see here, you would have the certificate, the key, and the CSR. This is actually his certificate. This is actually what the SSL key looks like, the SSL. And let me scroll in for you guys to see this better. So that's the SSL. Now we go into his product. Now this is the problem where I want you guys to really closely work together, especially if you have a lot. And I want you guys to update this document as much as possible. Used IPs. I got to update it for a couple things because I haven't done it in a while. But I want you guys to update this list, and then I'm also going to add another field. And I want you guys to, I'm going to have you guys put who did it, who put it in there. So I want you guys to make sure you always update that used IP list. I will get you access to it soon. But we have an IP address now. This IP address is 71.89.140.85. After a while, I expect you guys to remember all the IP addresses, like I do, like 11, 7, 8, 14. I don't know all the SSL ones, but I know all the servers. So you guys will always remember the Class C octet, not exactly the last octet, but that's okay. So in this case, we used 85. So how I did that is I first ping it, and then I go over to make sure it's on LAMP 1. Whoops. So I log into LAMP 1. I do an IF config, and I'm going to grep for 71.89.140.85. So yep, it's there. Okay, so I can use that. Okay, so then I want you to try to go to just that IP address. In our play scenario, it's not used, okay, because it's already assigned to him, and that's our case study. So if it's not used, it should come up with the blue screen, right? Let's look at one that's not used right now. So you're going to get this screen if it's not used. Always, 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 I cannot stress it enough, verify it 3 or more times. Check the browser, ping it, check it, make sure it's on LAMP 1. And then also check your documentation. I do not want to be sitting here having multiple IPs for different clients. So always double check your work. If you don't feel comfortable on using that IP address, say, hey, I don't see it in the documentation. I'm kind of weary of it. Can somebody check this for me? You can check in different places too. You can check, you can type it in IntelliSearch, or you can go to the grid, which we'll go to next is the grid database. I'd rather you double check. You got access to ping. You got access to IF config. Just grep it to the IP address, and you got access to the grid database, and plus to the used IP list. So you can go into the KBase here, migrationutils.py, search for it. Here it is right here. I suggest you guys bookmark it. And this is how you migrate from a server, because not always does that migrate to a different server button works on right here. Migrate to grid. That doesn't work all the time, and I prefer you guys not to touch that at all. So here is a nice little utility. You have to run it as root on the server that you're moving it to. So you're going to be on LAMP 1 when you do it. So we basically, in this scenario, since we're on LAMP 1, type Python 26 to this right here. All right. In this case, we're just copy it. What? I want for unified systems, so if I have to go look for one of you guys' keys because you didn't enter it in, didn't put in a ticket, and I get the ticket to do the SSL, and you guys forgot to do something, I can go pull the key I know right where to go pull the key. CSR's keys are going to be on LAMP 1. When you make it, you're going to make it on LAMP 1, or you can copy it from your PC to LAMP 1. All keys, all SCRs are going to LAMP 1, and they're going to sit in this directory right here. That I'm going to type.
Chris, I got that point, but I'm not able to understand. Means if a site is hosted on a separate server, how come we have configured IPs as well as the SSL on LAMP 1? In fact, we can configure SSL, but how IPs are allocated to LAMP 1 when site is on different server?
That's why we have to move it using the migration utility. We have to move it to
we have
LAMP 1.
to first move the sites to LAMP 1?
Yep.
If a site is on demo 5 and client asks for SSL certificate, we need to create a CSR and then move the site, migrating the entire site with files and database to LAMP 1.
Am I asking a stupid question? But, I
No,
have
you're
no
not.
idea how to migrate site.
There's two ways you can do a migration. You can make a JPA file using the Kiba backup, terminate it on LAMP1, whatever server it's on, and then create it on LAMP1. Or you can use the migration util. I prefer you guys use the migration util because it'll take you 5 minutes to look up. Yeah, I can give you a quick. Here, why don't we move one of my accounts to LAMP1?
And migration util work perfect.
Let's pull up my account.
It does not mess up.
95% of the time, it works perfectly. And then if it doesn't, I'll show you how to fix that. And it's an actually quick, easy fix using a different program called delete.php, which basically does the terminate button when you hit terminate on the account. So let's pick one of my sites here. Okay, here we go. Let's do demo 116test.cloudaccess.net. With this tool, actually, I need to update this because the migration util says it's in root, and it's actually in. So we're going to run Python, and I know where it's at on LAMP1. So we're going to go to user lib.
Python 26 is the command.
Migrate. Yes, Python 26 is actually the command, and then migration util. There it is. Yes, Python 26 is actually the script Python language 2.6. So here's the migration util program. And it says in the KBase that it's found in a root media daemon. It's actually also in user lib, which I will get that changed in the KBase. But it's in user library, migrate, and then the migrate util.
We don't have access to that directory under the jailed environment.
I will get you access to it. So now looking over here, back at your KBase, you'll see from host, domain, password. So from host, anybody have an idea where from host means?
Well, the server you're copying from.
Yep, so in this case, it's demo 1. From domain is that domain that I just picked. Where'd it go? Demo 116 test.
I thought we are going to use IP0.
So the domain is domain 116 test. All right. Now I need the password, which is right here, because it shows. If you look here, after that it says, "Oh, you need to put the password in." So we're going to put the password in. My screen is really big, so now it's wrapped around already. So here's my cursor. Paste the password in. And then if you look here again, it says the WHMCS client ID. So if you look at this little picture here, it's these two numbers. So the first one is my number right here. Wait for my screen to catch up. Right here. So the 202033 is the the user ID for WHMCS. And then the ID, now we need the hosting ID. And if we look at this picture, the hosting ID, it's not hosting ID anymore. It's called just ID. So we copy that. Or in some cases, type it out. All right. Now here is the last one. This is called server ID, the last one, server ID. Now, I have not figured out how it's supposed to be in the grid database. Powell told me, but in this case, I will just give you guys what Powell gave me of all the servers until I find out exactly, because he doesn't tell me where it's at. He told me once and he hasn't told me again, so I'll send this to you guys, all you guys. But when we're talking about server ID, so let me quickly put this in a document for you guys so I don't forget right now. Okay. All right, so I will fill this in more later. But here's your IDs for the server. Okay. So the server ID is actually the server you're going to be moving it to. So in this case, LAMP1 is 5. So we're going to put a number 5 here. And voila. Oh, no such file or directory. So, in this case, let's check mount demo 1. It's here. mount. So vhosts. Oops. Demo 1116. And it's not here for some reason. I must have terminated it. Hold on. No, it's active. And it's alive, I think. Yes, it is very much alive. So let me verify it again. Demo 11. So it's here, but it's not here, which is weird. But anyways, so that's how you run the command. I will look into that later. But so, whoops, let me move this back over to you guys. So that's the command you would run to migrate it over. And then it migrated successfully over, and now we got now we got to find that guy with the SSL.
I got one question. So we don't enter the full host name in the from field?
You mean the domain name?
Yes.
Yes, you don't put the www, you just put the domain name in.
No. I mean the demo one.
Oh.
He meant the server name.
Oh, no. You know why? Because in my host files, I have... my host files look like this.
Okay, so demo one directly points to the IP without having the full name, full domain name.
Exactly, see. So demo 1, right here, points straight to 153. There we go. See, there it is. See, I have demo 1. Let's go straight to it. Now, when I clean up my all my hosts, they all will have like demo 1. Here, I'll show you a great example right now. Here's my new host file. Oops, why did I do that? Because I'm not paying attention. This is what it's going to look like in the future. See how I cleanly made private network, public network. I have lamp2.cloudaccess.net. Then I have lamp2 public, demo 2. Or it shouldn't be demo 2, but it used to be demo 2 there. As you see here, everything is like demo 1 points to demo 1 and then demo 1 private. And if I wanted to, I can make the demo 1, but down here, I make the full qualifying name plus others. So that way, if you needed to connect to the public port instead of the private port, if not, you'll go straight to the private port. See, this is what my host file is going to look like when I'm done with all of them. Okay? So if you have any name problems and you need to know the IP or the name of the server, you can always cat etc hosts. And I'll print this screen out for you. Do you understand better, Chris?
Yes, I now understand everything.
Okay, good. All right, so
I can enter the full name. If
you can, yes, if you want to, yes.
Okay.
So back to this person. So we have migrated the user over. We have gave it a dedicated IP just for the billing part. This means nothing. Dedicated IP on this part means nothing. It does nothing. It just reference, hey, by the way, they have a dedicated IP. This is their IP address when you look at their page. So if you put it in here and you save the changes and you try to do a Apache config change, it won't work. Even if you leave it blank, if you put it in the back end, it's fine. So now you're like, okay, so I got my SSL, I've got my key, I've got an IP address, I migrated them to LAMP 1. How do I get it to work? How do I get SSL installed? Now what we do is go into the PHP MyAdmin. We go over to the grid. What we do is
Christopher, one question here. When we allocate a dedicated IP and assuming the domain is using Cloud Access name server, so it automatically turns the A records into that, or we need to do it somehow manually?
Oh, I'll get there. So after you've done this, because I'm following you the steps that I take, when I do this, when I install an SSL, it takes me less than 5 minutes to do it now. So I'm taking you through the steps that I do. The only part actually takes me 10 minutes if I actually have to transfer the domain over. But if just to get the install, if I was to do the SSL SCR, got the SSL back really quickly, like godly instantly, and he was already on demo 1. I can go from creating the SDR to the finished product in 5 minutes. If I had to migrate him, it'd take me 10 minutes. But I don't expect you guys to be super fast at it. But I'm taking you down the steps that I do it, so we'll discuss that IP scheme and DNS and everything in a second. So now we're here at the grid table, and we go into the domains. And most of you guys know how to search for a domain in the domains table. So in this case, we are going to take. So we come here, Extreme Fitness. Once we find a domain, we come inside, and this is where you put the SSL IP. Put the IP in here. Change the enabled SSL from 0. It'll sit as 0. Change it to 1. Give it the IP address. Copy the SSL cert, his SSL cert, into this field. Okay. Copy the key that you generated into this field, and some SSL signers require a chain, so you would have to put the chain in here. But if they don't need a chain, then don't have to have it in there. Then after that, you click go, save. It'll save it, write it to the table. And then you can go ahead and close out the grid, heal. You're going to uncheck all this, regenerate the Apache configuration. Okay. Then, as you were talking about the IP, we're going to log into Power Admin, sign in as the support, go to search zone records, search for the zone, come in here, edit the records. Change his A record for extremefitnessmilton.com in this instance to his IP address. Commit changes, and you're done. That's it.
Chris, what about FTP and SFTP records?
No, you don't have to change that.
Oh, okay.
No, because we're only SSL. It has to have its own IP address, so it's going to just sit there. So the rest of them are fine. Because everything will still be direct. Linux will still direct everything to that user.
Is there going to be any downtime?
The only downtime you'll have is if the customer is not on the on LAMP 1. The downtime is where the migration and the 10 minutes to propagate.
Maybe we can decrease the TTR before doing all this if it's like a super critical case and we don't want any negative caching.
In this case, you just let the customer know because you're going to put an SSL in anyways. So just tell them I had to migrate you from LAMP from another server, put you on a faster server, gave you a dedicated IP address. It's going to take about an hour for it to come up.
Now, old server won't be hosting it after this step, right? Means if someone someone opens the site and gets the older IP in his local DNS resolver, and he tries after you migrate the site, then he will be getting error, right?
Yep, until the propagation's done, is finished. Now, you could tell them during that time that when you had to migrate them over, hey, I've installed your SSL. Here's your IP address. Here's how you can verify that your SSL is installed by giving them the IP address. It will error out. Like in this case, we'll really quickly before I let you guys go. In this case, this SSL errors out. See? Because if you look here, it does not supply ownership information. And if we view the sorry, wrong one. I didn't put the S there. If we go here, why does he have it redirecting back to? No, he doesn't. It's just that's just being weird. He has it forcing not to redirect to SSL, which is perfectly fine with me. But in most cases, let's do this one then, because I know another IP address. So you tell the customer, hey, I've installed your SSL. While we're waiting for the propagation, Your website is up. You can verify that you do have your SSL, like this person. The problem is that when you do, you go to view certificate. See the common name is the www. We're going straight to the IP address, so it's going to error out. But it does show that it's issued and it has been signed, so that will show the customer, hey, by the way, your SSL is working. You just can't do it by IP address. It's just going to error out. Okay?
One crazy question here, Christopher. I was wondering, how about adding one more step? Like before doing all this, initially in the first starting step, we go directly to a DNS and just decrease the TTL to say something like 1 minute, so that anyone in meanwhile time, if he visits the site, that gets just cache for just 1 minute, and later on after changing IP, we turn it to 1 hour again. Do you think that's a good way or not?
Actually, I don't see a problem with that. I've done that in the past. So yeah, if you want to take that extra step before when you get the CSR made and you send it off to them, if you want to go ahead and change that for them and get people ready for it, because it's still going to take time before that TTL takes effect. And then if you come back and do the SSL, at least you know it will be changed in like a minute or two instead of compared to an hour. All right. Any more questions so I can let you guys go? No questions? I gave you guys the command along with your basic Linux cheat sheet. So you can just copy and paste it, change the domain. Make sure you cat. Make sure you cat the CSR so you can see it. In other words, cat is print to screen. All right. You always want to cat it to the screen, copy and paste it from the screen, or download it. Put it in your home directory and go and download it. And then do whatever you want with it. You know, put it up on the copy and paste it from your notebook. I mean, your notepad or your Word document or whatever, and then delete it off your machine, because there's no point really keeping that kind of junk on your machine. That's it. So if you have any questions when you guys do it, take your time. You don't have to. I mean, take your time on it so you can do it right. And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask Paul, Derek, or I. If Derek can't help you, he'll tell you to come to me.